Yes, you read it right. A tarp tent for £149.99. Is it any good? Let me show you. Now this is not some Chinese knockoff. This is made by one of the most reputable outdoor pursuit, camping and sports companies in the world. If not, definitely Europe. They have shops all across the world, from the States, Europe and in the UK, not many of them. However, their products are thoroughly tried and tested before they go out, and they are not figures that are made up by some bloke who sits in an office and thinks, yeah, that's the wind resistance, yeah, that's the R value. So this tent is a 2-person tarp tent. It comes in at 1.3 kilos, so it is ultra lightweight for a 2-person tent, and hopefully a decent enough size for me to fit in, but definitely for most normal sized people. It is a trekking pole tent, so slightly different from other tarp tents that you may see. However, this tent is tested in a wind tunnel up to a force 7 gale. Now there's not many tent manufacturers out there that do that. I've seen Nordisk do it, and they have a tent in one line with the wind facing at the strongest point to the point where it collapses, and they measure it in meters per second, but they don't tend to do that well. This is not only done in a wind tunnel with a gale force 7 wind against it, it's also done on a rotating plate. So the tent turns with a constant gale force 7 wind against it. So every angle of the tent is tested to gale force 7. We all know the wind doesn't stay in the same position. We set our pitch in a certain way so that the stronger part of the tent takes the battering. If the wind turns, the weaker part can take it, and that could be the point that breaks that tent. So this is fully tested, circular, 360 degrees to a force 7 gale. When packed, it has a pack size of 30 centimeters by 12 centimeters and fits into a 4-litre compression sack that comes with it. As I said, it requires 2 trekking poles to put it up, anywhere between 110 and 120 centimeters in height. The interior dimensions are 220 centimeters long and 95 centimeters height. Now in theory, 220 centimeters should fit me in it. One end is square sided and the other end is a slight angle, so hopefully that should work. Interior width is 125 centimeters at the head end, 105 centimeters at the foot end, and it has 2 vestibules, both at 70 centimeters deep. It has a 2000mm hydrostatic head, and the bottom floor has a 3000mm hydrostatic head. Now this tent is also classified as an eco-friendly tent. Basically what they say is they have not used any dye in the process, and the dye, using a dye in a tent, it's not the most ecological way to do it, so it's an eco-friendly tent by dispersing with the use of dye. That does mean it is white, but I'm not using it as a stealth tent. It's easy for you to get found, it's not a problem. I'm camping somewhere where you're allowed to. If that's an issue for you, it might not be the tent for you. It has a 20D polyester fly sheet, which is seam sealed and heat taped from within the inside. It also comes with 70/75 T6 aluminium anvil head tent stakes. Right, time to get it up and see what you think of it. Now this will be my first time putting this tent up. I always say, don't go and put a tent up when you're camping first time. I am out camping, so I'm going to sleep in this tonight. However, I'm not far from the car, and I do have another tent in the car, like I said before. So if there's any problems or any issues with this tent, which I'm sure there will not be, then I can easily shoot back and get my other tent. This tent also comes with a 5-year manufacturer's guarantee. So I haven't told you to make this tent yet. And I'm not going to. I'm going to put this up, show you it, see what you think. Comment below what tent you think it is. It might give it away when you see the pack, but I'll put it up and I'll show you. So this tent comes in a matching white compression sack, so you can strap it down nice and tight. There are 2 small poles within this pack, which go in the end corners, very much like a tarp tent. Scarp 1. So this can be compressed down a lot smaller than this by taking the poles out, which I probably will do next time I take it out for a camp. So these are 2 small end poles that go into the foot end in the corners of the tent to keep it nice and upright. And these are the tiny little aluminium anvil head pegs that you get. I'm not going to use them. 2 reasons. 1, I don't know how good they are. 2, I've got my Easterns. 3 reasons. These haven't got any string on them to pull them out with, so they're going to be a nightmare, especially if they're wet. So I won't use these. I'll use my normal tent pegs. They look pretty solid. They're square, probably about 1/4 of a centimetre thick, maybe a bit more. But I wouldn't use these unless I had some string around here, so I'll probably get some Dyneema for it and try them out. Okay, so I'm going to start by pegging out the head end first. The wind is going that way at the moment. It may change. Let me take the 2 poles, They go in these little corner pockets. Fairly straightforward. I'll bring it around and show you how it looks. As you can see, you've got two guidelines here which you can tighten these up. One connection to the floor, a little loop, and another cord here. The poles just simply fit into that pocket there and that pocket there. So very easy to take out for packing down better and smaller, unlike the Tarp Tent, which I'm not sure if you either can't take it out or it's very difficult and a bit of a pain. Okay, so now the trekking poles. I'll set these to 115 at the moment, just to see what that's like. Obviously you can tension it, make it tighter, taller or shorter, however you wish. Okay, so that's it up. 6 pegs, literally. Now, there is additional guy out points on here, but they don't provide any guy lines for them. So there's one at the foot end, which you can raise, I'll show you, with either another trekking pole or my carbon pole, which would pull it and give it a bit more height. But they don't supply it with any more, unless it's inside somewhere, with any more guy lines. There's also one here on this door and one on the other door as well. It tells you what height to put your trekking pole at, which is handy. There's a little pocket inside here and it goes in handle up, and the point of the trekking pole goes into a little clip at the bottom of the inner, so it holds it nice and taut. I'll show you that when we get inside. There's one vent either side, held open with a little stiffened tab. We're definitely getting those open. Okay, get the zipper open, show you inside. One Velcro tab and a one-way zip. So no two-way zip on this model. The usual annoying hook and loop. You then have one single opening door. They class this as a 3-season tent. It has got a fair bit of solid interior with mesh at the top. There is quite a bit of mesh on it, so it will give you some protection in the wind in cold weather, but it's not going to be as warm as having a full solid inner. Again, this door rolls up. And the inner one is actually elastic. The outer one isn't. Random, but there you go. Let me take you inside. I quite like the colour of the inside. It's a sort of a orange, burnt orange, tan with grey. Let's see if I fit in it. So as you can see here, there is a join, which is double stitched and heat taped, seam sealed. Inside there is a pocket over there, a decent sized pocket, and the same on this side. Nothing down the foot end, obviously. Let's have a lay in there, see if I fit. Check out the sweat. It's 36 degrees, by the way. It's damned hot. So, the ultimate test, me laying down. There's about 10 inches above my head. There is a slope here, so if I go back to here, I'm hitting it. But, excuse me, sweat in my eye. If I sleep, if I lay how I would normally lay, I will try it with the mat, but I don't think it's going to cause an issue because this is a fair distance away from my head. I will do my one and only sit-up test. My hair just brushes it. Okay, I'm now sitting forward of the centre so my head hits this part, but I'll show you the head height. But I've done this just to show you where my feet are. Excuse the lovely white socks. My feet don't touch the end, and I've got a good 6 inches above them before I hit the top. So this is a perfect size for me, and that is rare. Sitting up in the centre, sitting slouched, I'm fine. If I sit right up, which I'm not going to do because it's painful, my head just touches the top. So most normal height people, you're not going to have an issue. I'm not going to have an issue in this. There's loads of space. So it's 125 centimetres wide at the top, 105 at the bottom. It doesn't seem to narrow that much, but you can get two wide, large mummy pads in here. So you could squeeze two people in, but you'd have to be good friends. What I really like is it has two lantern hooks or washing line hooks, and they are hooks, not loops, which means my Gold Lighthouse Zero, which has got a fixed aluminium loop on the top, can only go on a hook. It can't go through a loop. So I have a carabiner attached to it on my tents that have hoops instead of a hook. Okay, apologies. For the first time ever, I've had an overheat malfunction on my GoPro. So the GoPro 10 has been renowned for overheating. I've never had that issue. Apparently they resolved it. But it's 36 degrees and I'm sitting inside a tent directly in the sunshine. So I don't blame it on overheating. So what I was saying was basically having a hook instead of a loop is much better because you can put more things on it. I don't know if the zips are YKK, but they are one-hand operation and they're two-way. So you can open them from either side or you could just vent them a bit at the top. Oops, a bit tight there. But they're nice and easy, they're free-flowing, they have string on them so they don't jangle as well. Now, I was a bit disappointed when I put the tent up and realised there wasn't any additional guidelines to put on the 2 points outside, and quite surprised that this manufacturer, who I do regard quite highly, failed to put additional guidelines in there. But within the tent peg bag, there's a separate side pocket tucked down it, and inside there I found two guidelines. So I put one on the side. They're toggle ones as well, they're quite good, they're toggle. So they literally just hook in the loop, so you can just take them in and out, rather than have to tie it and leave it on there permanently, and then tie them up when you don't want them, have them hanging on there, you can just undo them. So it's quite nice. So I put one on one side, and I'll put the other at the foot end. So now, if you look at my lovely white socks, I've got now a foot above my foot of space. It's made a massive difference, that has. Shame they haven't got one on this end as well. That'd be handy. But I've used my carbon pole outside to extend it. So I'm just going to show you the bottom of the trekking pole. So I don't know if you can see this down here. There's a little tab that comes off the base, and that just hooks into the bottom of your trekking pole, keeps it nice and taut, tightly on the ground. Okay, so can you tell what it is yet? So this is the Trekking Tarp Tent MT900 two-person tent from Decathlon. Now, this was not sent out to me free of charge. I bought this tent with my own money. I purchased this from the donations that I've had from Buy Me a Coffee, and also the money that I've earned from YouTube in doing the videos. So if you like this tent, if you like this type of video, if you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. All the views help me. Every bit of money I make go back into the channel so that I can buy things like this to review for you guys out there, because this might be the perfect tent. 1.3 kilos, incredibly strong in the wind, very spacious, £149.99. There's not many tents out there that can match that, including cheap Chinese copies, which I'm a fan of. As you know, I've got plenty. This isn't the final part of the video. I'm going to sleep in this tent and I'll give you my final thoughts in the morning. But as it stands at the moment, it's looking good. It ticks a lot of boxes I can't really see any negatives about it, except for maybe another guy out point at the head end with it attached to the inner to pull it out a little bit more. That would make it perfect, but that's me being really nitpicky with it. It's glasses time. So to give you an indication, and I'm putting these on because I'm having to read my phone, as to what Decathlon do and what they go through when they make their tents and they test them, I'm going to read out who it is approved by and what they've done. So the MT900 two-person Tarp Tent was validated in the field under real-life conditions. It was used for 5 weeks during the spring of 2021 by 2 teams of testers that do not belong to Decathlon. They trekked the French Alps with this tent. One of the testers loved it so much that he used this model to complete his own GTA, which is the Grand Traversée des Alpes. Anyway, it's the Alps trek. And he came back delighted. So they do test these thoroughly. They don't just knock them up, see what they look like, and then bang them out and sell them. It is a proved, tried and tested tent. It's not going to get a test tonight. There's hardly any wind. I really could do with some wind because I am absolutely sweating and it is boiling hot. But I'm looking forward to having the tent tonight, having that space. Being able to lay out straight in the tent for me is great. So if it fits me, it's going to fit the majority of you guys watching this. Excuse the wind, it's died down a little bit, but not much. So my final verdict on the tent. One night only, it's been good. It stood up to the wind really, really well. It was a bit flappy, but that was because I hadn't tensioned the side guy lines fully. The back end was straight onto the wind, but it handled it absolutely no problem at all. It didn't budge an inch. So yeah, I'm really pleased with it. It's strong, it's lightweight, it's roomy, it's got some great features. It ticks pretty much every box. There's not a lot I would do to change it apart from maybe a guy out at the head end, just to give it a bit more internal space. Other than that, spot on. So if you like the tent, you can get this from Decathlon. It's great service, very, very quick, a quality product, and at a very, very good price. So as I said before, I bought this out of my own money. It wasn't sent to me, and this was money that I made from you guys watching my videos. So thank you very much, and also from donating on my Buy Me a Coffee page. So if you do want to see more of these, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and if you do want to buy me a coffee, there'll be a link in the description below. Thanks for watching again. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. Any questions, comments, leave them below, and I will answer them as I always do.